Welcome to the October 1st, 2020 Cumberland County Commissioners Virtual Workshop Meeting. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance by saying, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and at this time I open up the floor to public comment for all items except for Sheepford Bridge. We'll hold a public comment period when we get to those agenda items. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, and I'll call on Jennifer Oswald from Destination Carlisle and Yvonne Swarner from our Facilities Department to discuss the letter of support for Destination Carlisle. Commissioners, please note this is an action requested item. Jennifer and Yvonne.
Good morning, this is Yvonne. I'm on behalf of Jennifer Oswald and Destination Carlisle. We're asking for immediate approval of a request that they submitted to be able to place a Legends and Lore sign in front of the courthouse. This is pending a grant from the William Pomeroy Foundation that must be submitted by tomorrow, Friday, October 2nd. If you have any specific questions about the Legends and Lore marker, you can ask Jennifer, as she is also on the call.
Any questions for? I do not have my hand. Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we need action on this now.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm going to move to approve a support letter for Destination Carlisle to apply for a William G. Pomeroy Foundation grant for Legends and Lore historical marker.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Jennifer will get that letter emailed out to you once it's been signed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Carrie Finkenbinder to discuss the budget adjustment resolution. Carrie?
So the first one is for the nursing home unit, which is capital and capital contract by $30,600 for a capital business. And then the next one is for increasing contingency, $750,000 due to COVID. The budget is being added in order to process transactions. However, we don't expect an impact to fund balance. A portion of the CARES Act funding expenses have not been moved to Fund 165, but they will be. And all the paperwork for each invoice needs to be prepared to move the invoices.
Any questions for Carrie?
The copier is $30,600, or is that over?
Well, so the resolution description has a wheelchair washer, but on here it says copier, so we're still trying to confirm what it's for.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, we need to know what that is. We need that firmed up.
Is it a copier, is it a wheelchair, is it?
So, I have, this is Dana, we have been looking into it, we are purchasing both a copier and a wheelchair, both have been approved, we're not sure on the resolution, it's what we're double checking, we believe it's for the wheelchair washer. But Ben is looking into it as we speak. We didn't notice the discrepancy until near the end of the week.
Well, I'm going to jump in on this. I'm not comfortable approving a budget resolution when we don't know what it's for.
Well, hopefully we'll know by Monday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the action's Monday, so can we expedite some further information on this so that we know what we're going on?
We should not have this, and it was a typo, I believe, on the person that wrote the, resolution paperwork.
Yeah.
I think it's just a copy of the copy. And we have just at double check the thing.
Yeah, I caught like a quarter of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I'm looking for.
But let me just ask it this way. Will we have this information in time for Monday?
We'll have it in probably in half an hour.
That's fine. When you have it, send it to us, please.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about this communication.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Agenda item number 5 is contracts and grants. Agenda item 5.1 through A through C consists of existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county for CNRC, drug and alcohol, and prison operations. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding any of the contracts listed above?
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 5.2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases and decreases to the county. And I'll start by calling on Jamie Ryber to discuss the 5 agreements for children and youth. Jamie?
Thank you, Commissioners. The first contract on for today is the Deborah Foundation. They provide treatment for several of our more difficult youth to place. They're asking for a 3% increase to their Ibd program. They are planning to provide treatment-specific training above and beyond the state mandates to all of their staff. They're looking to hire additional staff at this time and also trying to keep competitive salaries to retain their quality staff. They've also are planning to add additional safety and security measures to their buildings this year and have increased their capacity of the number of youth that they're able to serve. The second contract is for diversified treatment alternatives. They are requesting a 3% increase to 4 of their programs. They provide services to youth who have sexual behaviors and severe behavior deficiencies. The addition of inpatient diagnostic evaluation is also on here as a new program and will be invoiced $3,000, but it will be invoiced at the completion of the evaluation, so it's just a single period of time that they're completing those assessments on the youth to better determine the plan of care for them moving forward. They are increasing their staff salaries and benefits. They are doing facility upgrades and have started to use a new electronic record keeping system for streamlined clinical and billing services. They're also working to align the 3 residential programs. We have 2 programs that are at a much lower rate than the other one that they didn't request an increase for, so they're working on moving that up so that they're all on the same level. The next contract is for True North Wellness Services. This is a brand new contract for us this year. They provide functional family therapy. It's an evidence-based program that serves youth in several different capacities. They have strength-based programs of intervention that work with the youth and their families and the multi-system providers that are involved with the youth. They target youth that primarily demonstrate behaviors such as delinquency, violence, drug abuse. They also will work with youth that have other disorders such as ADHD, anxiety, depression, etc. They will meet with youth ages 10 to 18 and are both juvenile probation and children and youth are going to be using this service. This service also will eventually be funded by the Child's Behavioral Health Insurance. So this is really just covering the initial period of using this service while they are also simultaneously working on getting the child medical assistance and being able to put the funding over to them. The next contract is for the Bear Foundation. This is probably one of our largest foster care providers. They are requesting between 2.21 and, between 1% and 2.66% increases. They are increasing their employee staff and their benefits, their training staff, and the structured analysis family evaluation assessment tool. They've also added a path to permanency home for children to visit with their families while in foster care. And the last one is the Impact Project. This is also one of our foster care providers, and they have some more specialized foster care homes dealing with children that have offender behaviors. They have not had any significant increases in their recent years. Their last increase was in 2016 and was a minimal 2% across the board. And prior to that, when we started contracting with them in 2012 was the last time they had an increase. They are working to enhance foster parent recruitment program, and they're also increasing the rate that they're paying to their foster parents for the services that they're providing to our children. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Benjamin Boyer to discuss the agreement for CNRC, and Commissioners, please note this also is an action requested item. Ben? Ben, can you hear us? I'm sorry.
If it's up there, my signature's on it, I reviewed it.
Okay.
It is. And I've reviewed many of those types of contracts in the last year.
Yeah, I believe that this is actually as a stopgap measure. It's just another agency that they'd like to contract with in case they need to reach out whenever their staffing is low, particularly over a weekend or on a night shift. Okay.
So it's as needed.
Excuse me, Ben said he called in because he couldn't get his mic to work, but he's muted on the phone.
Okay. Over to attendees. If you call in, go over to attendees. Is that 2031? Yes, we need to press
We're here to have questions anyhow, so.
yeah. Okay, so you can just send them a chat message and tell them that we're good. So again, this is an action requested item.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi,
Okay.
Dan.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We just had some technology glitches here. I think between Keith and myself, we covered it for you. Probably didn't do as good of a job as you would have done. So I don't believe the commissioners have any questions for you on the contract.
Okay, just the, I don't know if we want to go back now, but the other one I did research and found the budget resolution one is for the wheelchair washer, just to confirm that.
Oh, thank you.
That's good.
And is that any other questions you need from me?
We're good, we're gonna take action then, so.
All right. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the contract request for cross-country staffing to be used as a temporary labor situation for nursing.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you.
Okay, next we'll call on Eric Radovich to discuss a grant and agreement for the district attorney's office. Eric? You have him unmuted, right?
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Grant before you is it's the PCCD, it's the National Forensic Science Improvement Grant Act. For the Cumberland grant, it's a $147,000 no match request, providing general laboratory improvements for 2021. Improve, it'll add 2 pieces of equipment and provide support from 2 additional outside laboratories to support our laboratory.
Any questions for the grant? Okay, go ahead, Eric.
And the second capital on there is for $6,125 for Parade Technologies. This is a support contract for a piece of software that we use to help us develop latent and submit latent fingerprints to the FBI and state police agents. It's a very useful tool for us and something we use often.
All right, thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Commissioners. Have a good day.
You too.
Next, I'll call on Ryan Simon to discuss the agreement for drug and alcohol. Ryan?
Good morning, Commissioners. This contract is with One-Year Run, and they have a number of different locations that they're asking for increases for. First off, Allenwood location, they're asking for a 7% increase for their detox, 10% for rehab, and 8% for co-occurring. Their fiscal officer there said that those increases are related to them offering additional medication-assisted treatment options at that location. And those increases have to do with the cost of them being able to offer that. Their Code Forge location, for detox, they're asking for a 5% increase. For rehab, they're asking for a 24% increase. For co-occurring, they're asking for an 8% increase. And their fiscal officer said that the increase of the 24% is related to a new program that they're offering at that location. It has a number of requirements for staffing levels and such, and that's why they have such a large increase there. Next is their female halfway house. They're asking for a 7% increase. New perspectives, they have detox, so they're asking for 5%. Also, new perspectives for rehab, they're asking for 11, and they're also asking for 11% increase for their co-occurring. Those increases are related to they needed to hire staff with a higher level of education. They had to hire master's level staff instead of bachelor's level staff. And of course, they had to pay them more because they had higher education. So that's the reason for those increases. Blue Mountain, they're asking for a 5% increase on their rehab. New Destiny, male halfway house, 2% increase. At their Lancaster location, they're asking for a 10% increase for detox and 5% for rehab. We're also asking to add their co-occurring program that they have at that location. And the increase at that location is also related to having to have master's level staff where they had bachelor's level staff previously. Their York Davies location, they're asking for 3% increases for detox and rehab. The York Zion location, they're asking for 3% increase on rehab and co-occurring. And then their Lehigh location, they're asking for a 2% increase on detox, 1% for rehab, and 2% for co-occurring. Any questions?
There's a typo on the request form here on the date, so I'm sure somebody's picked that up, I think.
We'll work with you, Ryan, to get that squared away before the meeting on Monday. Any other questions for Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. Next, I'll call on Sue Carbaugh to discuss the 6 agreements for MHIDD. Sue?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. The first contract is for early intervention for this fiscal year 2021. It's for Connections Early Intervention and Supports. It's already an addendum to the contract this year. It's an increase of $57,066 due to additional services authorized, and now the contract is for a full year instead of a half year. So the services they provide are occupational and physical therapy for the children. The next contract is an Ibd contract. It is for the Advocacy Alliance. It is an increase of $7,234 due to an increase in our health risk screening tool. They needed to be certified to do that service. Moving on, the next contract is for mental health. It's Geisinger Holy Spirit. It's a decrease of $48,763 from last year. And it's based on authorized services. It's for outpatient and partial services. And we have another contract for Geisinger Holy Spirit for 2021. It is a decrease of $13,421. It's for administrative case management, forensic case management, crisis, and outpatient medication management. Next contract for mental health is Keystone Services System. It is an increase of $34,727, and it's for residential services. It's for this current fiscal year. And then we have a contract for mental health for Keystone Service Systems for the fiscal year 2019, 2020. And it's an addendum. It's an increase of $20,171 for residential services. I was asked to relate that it's so getting through because they were waiting for the original signatures on the contract. So they just finally got all the original signatures. Any question?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Justin Miller to discuss the grant reimbursement for recycling and waste. Justin?
Good morning. These are the standard EDP forms for our August household hazardous waste disposal event. Two things require signature. First one is the record of operation report, and once again, that just lists the type of material we received and the quantity. The total weight from that event was 46,720 pounds, dominated once again by paint. For comparison, our June event, which we had scaled down due to COVID, we took in 27,016 pounds. So the second form is the application for reimbursement, and because we took in more weight, the cost for the event was higher. Total cost of $34,295.79. DEP will reimburse us 50% of that, which is $17,147.89. We also took in $11,191.35 in user fees, leaving a balance of $5,956.55, but that will be covered by the advanced disposal sponsorship that we get. So those are the two forms that require signature.
Any questions for Justin? Thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on from contracts to agenda item 6, I'm going to call on Claudia Garner to discuss a donation to public safety. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, everyone. Public Safety is asking for your approval to receive a $500 donation from Goodwill Mutual Casualty Company. Goodwill Mutual is an insurance provider under our Miller Carlisle Insurance, who writes 2 of our insurance policies. Several months ago, when COVID first came and there was the stay-at-home mandates that were issued, their subscribers were driving significantly less, of course, and the auto insurance companies like Goodwill began to issue refunds to their customers. They also gave them the option, instead of them receiving the refund, they could elect to waive their refund and redirect it to local charities, specifically first responders. We were fortunate to be one of the beneficiaries that they chose, and we would like to receive this donation of $500 and allocate that toward the purchase of the recently approved capital project of the hazmat response vehicles.
Any questions for Claudia? Okay, thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Kelly Nieder is here to discuss resolution 2020-28. Kelly?
Yes. Morning, Commissioners. You have a resolution in front of you. It's generic in nature, and that's by its intent to allow for an ease of opening various CDs and money market accounts without having to have constant new resolutions brought through this forum. I'm hopeful that this will work. You will still be very much in the loop on any new accounts as you will be signing the signature cards. So this is just really an effort to streamline, to make the account process easier should we need to switch accounts between banks.
Any questions for Kelly?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And next I'll call on Yvonne Swarner and Brent Durham to discuss Cumberland County surplus property. Yvonne?
Good morning again. We're here asking for your approval of the Cumberland County Facility Management Surplus Disposal Policy and Resolution adopting that policy. You have before you several documents that are outlining the proposed county surplus property disposal process that includes the ability to use an online auction for the sale of the item. The first document is an example of Npdes.com, which is an online site that we feel is a good fit for Cumberland County. Npdes was specifically designed for the use by municipalities and government agencies to sell surplus items and has been up and running for 14 years. You will also find a Q&A section that addresses basic questions about Npdes and the sale of the surplus county items. Our goal is to have increased exposure of items for sale, easier access for the general population to purchase items, and to modernize the process for everyone involved. I'd like to note that the only major change in the proposed process is the method of sale by adding the ability to use an online auction site. The next two documents are copies of the policy we are asking to be approved and a copy of the resolution, which was prepared by the solicitor's office regarding adding on the online auction as a method of sale. And as noted in the policy, a notice to conduct sales would come before the Board of Commissioners every 6 months for approval and would list items valued over $2,000. The final document is a list of vehicles that could be valued over $2,000 that we are seeking permission to sell following the proposed policy being approved on Npdes. I realize this is a lot of specific details and information about the product. Last year, Facilities was tasked by Sandy to create a policy and to research and develop the use of online auction. The policy and resolution before you is the result of the coordination and input of numerous departments and individuals within the county to finalize this document. We're very grateful for their help and input. The policy has been reviewed and approved by the solicitor's office. Do you have any specific questions?
I have one, and forgive me, I've not had a chance to read all the detail of this, so I'll just ask the question. But one of the catalysts for this was that we had questions about whether we were complying with the state law in regards to disposal, because apparently there were individuals who would have a first shot at picking through items and taking them rather than us realizing value for them through the auction process. So we are now policing that, and we're not allowing that to occur anymore. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have a process that's been in place for several years where we log everything that comes into us and then follow through its disposal.
Okay.
My understanding that determination is being made by the Facilities Management Department as items come in.
Okay. All right. And they fully understand that we have an obligation to offer everything fairly that's offerable.
Yes, they do. They're very well aware of the commissioner's thoughts on this matter that were relayed, I think, about a year ago.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Commissioner Eichelberger to discuss the appointment recommendation to the Mhidd Advisory Board. Commissioner Eichelberger.
Right, we have the nominating committee for the advisory board came forward with a single recommendation here. As I believe everybody received information on Nancy Romulus as the nominated individual to join the group. The appointment would be a 3-year term. It would take place immediately and would be valid through August 31, 2023. So I believe the CD is attached. If there's any questions we can try to address those prior to Monday's approval.
Next, I'll call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the two motions for the Sheepford Road Bridge. Kirk?
Morning, Commissioners. As you're aware, over the past several months, we've been working on the Sheepford Road closure and removal study. Had a report that was issued. We had a public meeting 2 weeks ago to talk about the future of the bridge. What we have today for discussion are two potential motions regarding the future of the bridge and the disposition of the bridge. The first would be consideration of a motion to approve the recommendation from the study to permanently close the bridge, given it is no longer needed for necessary accommodation of public travel. And then the second motion would be to allow the Friends of Sheepford Road Bridge until October 1st, 2022 to explore three options and secure funding necessary for disposition of the bridge that have been identified in the report. You can see those three options there: transferring ownership to a new owner, transferring ownership to a new owner, and disassemble and store the bridge at a designated location for future use, or transferring ownership to a new owner and moving the bridge to Yellow Bridges Park in Lower Allen Township. There are the motions. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have on those two.
We'll do this Monday, I assume.
Yes, yeah, action on Monday on this is fine.
All right.
I have no questions. If no one else does, then we can certainly look for public comment on the issue.
Okay, so the commissioners don't have any questions, so we'll open up the floor for public comment. And just remember to state your name and your municipality.
Joan Lankert, and I'm with Lower Allen Township. One of the questions I have, and we've started the registration, the historic registration for the bridge. And Cumberland County Historic Society has approved the application to go on the county registry. Where we're at now is we need your sign off on it. So that by you doing that, it helps us continue on the process, and it will also help with the fundraising efforts to further legitimize the historic value of the bridge.
Is it okay for me to speak? Well, I know we've had many conversations about this, so you guys pretty much know how we feel about losing the bridge to traffic. That is the decision. So I would just like to express our disappointment in that part of it. And I'm partly speaking as a resident with the property that abuts the bridge. So we did use it every day and we do miss it, but we respect your decision on that. And as to another question, going to the item number 11, I know that there's going to be many questions that people are going to have our group in terms of how to make this happen. We are excited about the chance to actually save this bridge that you guys hopefully are considering giving us. And Mr. Stoner has set up a Zoom meeting for us tomorrow, in which I think some of the questions will be answered, so I don't see the point in bringing them up right now. But I would have one question that I would like the county to maybe consider, and possibly there isn't an answer for it today, but that question would be whether there are any terms and conditions under which the counties would retain ownership of the bridge. And namely, that would be to further add to that, are there any cooperative ways in which the Friends Group can help reduce the burden of ownership by the counties sufficiently for the counties to consider retaining ownership of the bridge? So that would be a question that perhaps you could think about going forward. And Joan did mention the Cumberland County Historical Society. It was a rather large application we had to fill out back in January to get that. It was approved, and they've also awarded us the money to pay for the marker. So the only thing that's really standing in the way is Commissioner's approval. And we feel that since if this goes through, we would have at least 2 years, and I do believe that we will be successful. I don't see how, in my opinion, it's not a binding thing. If the bridge is on the county register and for some reason it can't be saved, it's not anything that's gonna make you have to do anything differently. It's more an honor. So those would be my comments for now, so thank you.
Does anybody else have public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 12, and again, I'll call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the Cumberland Plans Grant Agreement for New Cumberland Borough, followed by agenda item number 13, which is a capital project request for Ramp Bridge. Kirk?
Commissioners, our Cumberland Plans Grant program, we have an application from New Cumberland Borough, $15,000 to update their zoning ordinance. Our committee from the Cumberland County Planning Commission has reviewed the application to recommend approval. Just some insight on this, I think this is a great project. In New Cumberland Borough has really been working on revitalization after we've helped out with that. And I think updating their zoning ordinance is a good step in helping to make sure that the regulations and policies for land use support that revitalization effort. Again, the recommendation of approval was from the Cumberland County Planning Commission at their last meeting.
Any questions for Kirk? Okay, go on.
Okay, the last item there is our capital project request. This is for our Grand Bridge rehabilitation that we recently approved. J. Paul Brown and Sons a contract for a rehabilitation project amount $750,000. I would note we just had an accident on this bridge this week. There was some damage done to it. It's now closed. So Hopewell Township was a big help for us. They get out there and have closed the bridge, but it's closed now in advance of the contractor starting to work here in the next couple of weeks.
Any questions for Kirk? Okay, thank you, Kirk.
Thank you.
Move on to agenda item 14, which is Commissioner's Liaison reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just briefly, I have a number of items from the previous board meeting of the Mental Health Ibd Advisory Board. Some of this we've received already, so I won't go into detail. Of course, the commissioners were able to partake at the opening tours for the LTSR building, which is now complete. It's been a long time in the making. Certainly enjoyed the opportunity to see the facility completed. It's very nicely done. Be a great benefit to both Cumberland and Perry counties. We have, I think Annie just briefed us last week in regards to suicide prevention activities continue to move along. Pulse Task Force hosted their teacher campaign for Suicide Prevention Month and raised $515 for their outreach efforts. As a result, QPR training continues with county, among county staff. There are 2 additional sessions scheduled in October, and it looks like there's going to be 2 additional ones scheduled in November. So we are making progress in getting folks who work in the county to be active participants in the question persuading refer training program that's underway. We have 29 county employees that were trained at the August session. I don't have a number for the September session. There were 2 sessions in September, so we'll continue making nice progress on that. Crisis intervention training continues, and that was late. August was when the latest was done. Annie noted for me that there are 3 local police jurisdictions that have offered the training. The idea behind this, of course, is to provide police additional tools in de-escalation and to have a more custom-tailored solution to incidents in which we have mental health issues involved. And we've all seen news stories and such recently that point to the great need for that to occur. So progress being made on that. The NH office has financially supported several officers receiving the training here in Cumberland County that otherwise would not have been able to do that. So I certainly want to encourage that effort to continue. That saves lives. That's money well spent. Obviously, budget concerns continue to be a topic of discussion among the group. The office staff's been very actively seeking input from the provider community, which we rely on, asking them to become partners in certainly minimizing cost. We just don't know going forward exactly what the state's going to be able to provide. So continue to monitor that situation, and we should know something soon since the budget negotiations are a fall activity. So, Project Search, I think Sue mentioned this to us recently. Project Search, the employment program for consumers, youthful consumers. It reopened September 8th with 2 individuals. The 3rd class is coming back to finish the rotation that was interrupted by the COVID. And the 4th class is going to begin October 12th. There's 5 individuals for this year. We've seen some really excellent placements in that. Certainly has some life-changing outcomes for our consumers, so we certainly encourage that. Glad to see that getting back on track. Most of the early intervention services continue to see an uptick. All of that's evaluations are taking place virtually and continue to do so for the foreseeable future.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Eichelberger. Commissioner Bashi.
So I think one of the most exciting things that happened in the past couple of weeks since the last time we did this is HATS issued its RTP grants, and Cumberland County is going to get some significant dollars in RTP grants. In 2021, that total is $2,644,802, and in 2022, it's $2,916,870. And so Camp Hill Borough is going to get money. Oh, I just lost it. Carlisle. Carlisle is getting money to continue its Carlisle connectivity project. That's $1 million for Carlisle. That is a fantastic thing. We have projects in South Middleton, projects in Lower Allen. So I really think that, I know that Kirk Stoner is doing tremendous work with Toby Falver when they go to these meetings, and they really kind of start talking and you know, working the system a little bit to get more money into Cumberland County, and we need it, and it is fantastic. And I could not be happier. I know that the Borough of Carlisle grabbed me the other day, and they were like, hey, this is great. And we were really worried about that project at the beginning of COVID. So that makes me so happy, and I'm so proud of the work that Kirk does. It's just unbelievable. On an aside with that, we've got that Lemoyne bottleneck project that we are waiting for PennDOT to assign a manager to so that we can get rolling on it. And I think we'll all just continue to squeak on that, because the squeaky wheel, you know, eventually you get what you need. But that is a project that really needs to be looked at. We need to get it rolling and started. Interestingly, this week I got an email message from a Cumberland Valley teacher who said, I just learned about text to 911. This is great for school safety. And I was like, wow, that happened a year ago. So Samantha put together all of the information that the county pushed out a year ago, and I delivered it to him. But I do know that information went to our school districts back when that project started. I was not here, but I know that happened. So that's just something I just want to remind everyone that it is available. You can text to 911. And if you can't call, text. Please use the library. You know, the library has that tutoring available for library users. It is unbelievable, especially as we are tutoring children, teaching children at home. It is a fantastic, fantastic service. Those are your tax dollars at work, and I would encourage everyone to take advantage of it. And as I've said before, you can learn calculus at tutoring. It's just unbelievable. We are, of course, working with LEPC on funding a hazmat truck, raising money for a hazmat vehicle, a replacement one, and that is very important to all of our safety. And I think that's all I have today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hashi. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Thanks, Stacy. Just first comment, the Capitol Council of Governments Capital Region Council of Governments had their yearly golf tournament in Picnic on September 21st. I attended that event. It was well attended, and they had many sponsors this year. For the Aging and Community Services Advisory Board, they met September the 18th. I'd like to announce that the Enola Center opened 3 days a week starting September 9th, and they're going on a 30-day trial period. The Shippensburg Center, they've decided to open their facility this coming January. And the Mechanicsburg Place Senior Center is now open 5 days a week and hope to increase activities in November. Prize numbers are up due to 440 open enrollment letters being sent out to beneficiaries who use the prize services. Jan Brayan, full-time assessor, has retired. However, she will be coming back as a part-time ombudsman. 2 new assessors have been hired to fill the recent vacancy, and a vacancy that's been open since February. They started in September. Both are from other aging associations and already trained assessors. Face-to-face visits have resumed in homes if the consumer agrees. The 4-year plan that the Department of Aging showed to us a short while ago has been approved by the state, so that's good news as well. Moving on to Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority, a individual was selected to replace Tim Whalen. That has not been officially announced yet, but it should be soon. The association or the authority continues to administer the CARES relief, rent relief program for Cumberland County. The website for the Housing and Redevelopment Authority was recently hacked, not directed specifically at our website, but at the server that is used for our website. Long story short, the code has been removed. It is fine now and up and running again. The Riverton Woods Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Project of Monarch Development was approved by the PHFA. This project will provide housing for low-income seniors in Des Moines. The project will now move forward for land development and other required approvals and permits. Construction is expected to begin early next year. The flats at Factory Square development is now leasing, should be fully occupied by the end of the year. And when the development reaches 50% occupancy, supportive services will begin to the residents. And last but not least, the Conservation District met on September the 22nd. The Ag Sector meetings were continued and led by Jeb Musser from Lancaster Farm Trust. He went through and described the county-wide action plan. He also provided everyone with a paper form, PowerPoint, and went through the goals the county is to meet by 2025. The Cumberland Valley Trout Unlimited folks would like to contract with the Conservation District to write a cold water conservation plan for the Newport Spring Run. Grant money available is $5,000. So that's some good news. There was discussion too to combine 2 accounts that the Conservation District uses, which now will no longer require the Conservation to have 2 separate accounts. We have a new employee, a new Chesapeake Bay technician. His name is Charles Eberlin. He started with us last month. We've received 24 requests for assistance under the Erosion and Sedimentation Control and Npdes program. And farm assistance was presented to the district board of 24 requests. 5 required new permits and 2 had existing permits that need to be modified. And finally, on the Conservation Excellence Grants Program, provides financial and technical assistance for the implementation of best management practices on our agricultural operations. The State Conservation Commission has asked the CCCD if we're interested in participating in the program, because we are a Tier 2 county in the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Improvement Plan. There's some discussion, and it's agreed that the Ag Committee will look into the details of the program and move forward with a recommendation. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
I would like to report that executive sessions were held on September 30th, 2020, at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel and at 11 a.m. regarding potential litigation. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board today?
I don't have other business, but I would like to make a comment. And I'm not speaking for my other two commissioners, but, I'm new here. And I am a member of the Board of Elections, along with Commissioner Eichelberger and Commissioner DiFilippo. And, boy, I watched a debate the other night where I heard bad things happen in Pennsylvania in terms of voting. And I have taken personal offense to that as a member of the Board of Elections. And this county hires excellent people to diligently, thoughtfully, and law-abidingly work on delivering a fair, accurate, and reliable election. That's it. There are not shenanigans going on in Cumberland County, despite whatever anyone wants you to believe. We certainly have an election code that is ancient, that we need our representatives in the state to be diligently working on fixing. They need to catch up with the times. But to say that voting in Pennsylvania, that bad things happen, that this election is a fraud, is a disservice, not only to the people that work in Cumberland County, but to the voters in Cumberland County. And so I encourage everyone, if you want to see what really goes on in this county in terms of taking care of your right to vote, your constitutional right to vote, Monday morning, October 6th, 10 a.m., there's a public meeting of the Board of Elections. You can Zoom into that meeting. You don't have to come here and take time out of your day to see what happens. But I encourage you to attend. You can listen. You don't have to make public comment if you don't want to. But I cannot express to the public enough the good work that goes on in this county to protect your right to vote. That's it.
Is there any other business?
No.
Before the board today? Okay. Hearing none, we are adjourned.